Picture a hillside in southern Africa, 200,000 years ago. The sun has just dropped behind the ridge, and the air is cooling fast. A small group rakes a layer of fine ash across the ground, lays fresh grass over the top, and settles down a few feet from a low, crackling fire. That bed of grass on ash, found in a place called Border Cave, is the oldest bed we have ever found, and it points at something we almost never stop to think about. Our ancestors had nights, 12 hours of them. Every single day, for hundreds of thousands of years, the light went out and stayed out. No lamps, no screens, no switch on the wall. So, here is a question that sounds simple until you actually sit with it. What did they do? The obvious answer is that they slept. The sun went down, there was nothing to see and nothing to do, so they lay down with the dark and slept straight through until dawn. Long, deep, untroubled sleep, the kind we tell ourselves we have lost. It is a lovely story. It is also almost entirely wrong. We cannot interview anyone from 200,000 years ago, but we can study the few communities left who still live by hunting and gathering, without electricity, without alarm clocks. They are the closest window we have onto how humans slept for almost all of our existence. One team wired up three of them: the Hadza in Tanzania, the San in Namibia, the Tsimane in Bolivia. Three groups separated by oceans and tens of thousands of years of history. And in all three, they found nearly the same thing. They slept about 6.5 hours a night. That is it. Not 9 hours, not 10. If anything, slightly less than the average office worker in a modern city. They did not go to bed when the sun set either. They stayed up, on average, about 3 hours past it. And the thing that finally tipped them into sleep was not the darkness at all. It was the cold. Sleep came on as the night air cooled, and they woke when it was coldest, in the dark, just before dawn. The scientist who led that study said it plainly. The idea that modern life stole our sleep is a myth. So if they were not sleeping the whole night, and they were not sleeping more than us, what were those extra hours for? The answer is the thing crackling at the center of every one of those camps: fire. We tend to remember fire for two gifts. It cooked our food, and it frightened away the things that wanted to eat us. Both true. But there is a third gift that almost always gets forgotten, and it may be the most important of all. Fire bought time, a few hours of warm, golden light that the working day had no claim on. You cannot dig roots in the dark. You cannot track an animal in the dark. You cannot scout a valley in the dark. The fire opened a pocket of the day that was useless for the work of survival, and therefore free for something else. And what humans did with that free time changed what we are. An anthropologist named Polly Nair spent 4 decades living with the Jutwasi people of the Kalahari, and she did something no one had thought to do. She wrote down what people talked about, and she compared the day to the night. By daylight, the talk was practical and a little sharp. Complaints, gossip, who owed what to whom, plans for the hunt. Only about 6% of daytime conversation was storytelling. Then the sun went down, the fire came up, and the same people became different people. At night, 81% of the talk was stories. Stories about people far away, stories about ancestors, stories about the spirit world, about people who had died, about places no one in the circle had ever seen. The daytime voice ran the camp. The nighttime voice built something far bigger, a shared imagination, a sense of belonging to a people much larger than the dozen faces lit by the flames. She called firelight stories the original social media. Around that fire, humans rehearsed the thing that may define us most, living inside ideas that are not physically in front of us. That is what the night was for. Not rest. Invention. But there is a stranger layer underneath, and it is hiding inside the sleep itself. Remember that these camps slept out in the open, or in thin grass shelters, on the ground, in the dark, surrounded by animals that hunted at night. Sleep is the most defenseless thing a body does. A camp of 20 people, all unconscious at once, is 20 easy meals. So how did anyone survive the night at all? You would think they posted a guard. They did not. They did not need to. When researchers tracked the sleep of an entire Hadza camp across 20 days, they found something quietly astonishing. Across those 3 weeks of nights, the total number of minutes when every single adult was asleep at the same moment was 18. 18 minutes. The rest of the time, more than 99% of it, somebody was awake. No one organized this. It happened on its own, because people fall asleep on different clocks, and the pattern tracked age. The young adults stayed up late, restless and wired, the night owls. The older people drifted off early and woke in the small hours, sleeping light and broken. The researchers gave it a name that ought to make every tired grandparent feel a little better. They called it the poorly sleeping grandparent hypothesis. The elder waking at 3 in the morning was not failing at sleep. They were the night watch. Sit with what that means. The light sleep of the old, the late nights of the young, the way a whole group never quite goes under at the same instant, these are not flaws in human sleep. They are the design. For hundreds of thousands of years, a band of people scattered across a handful of mismatched body clocks meant the group, as a whole, never fully closed its eyes. The fragile individual was guarded by the sleepless crowd. You may have heard that humans once slept in 2 shifts, a first sleep and a second sleep, with a stretch of wakefulness in between. That pattern is real, but it comes mostly from written records in cold, candlelit Europe a few centuries ago, and the studies of living foragers did not find it. The honest answer is that natural human sleep was probably never one fixed thing. It bent to the cold, the season, the danger, and the fire. It was flexible, which may be the most human trait of all. So picture that hillside one more time, the grass bed on the ash, the low fire. Most of the group is down, but not all, never all. A grandmother lies awake, listening to the dark. A couple of young ones are still up, and someone is telling a story, and the others lean in toward the warmth and the voice, half dreaming, somewhere far away. And now, come home. Tonight. When you cannot sleep at 2 in the morning, and you lie there certain that something is wrong with you, nothing is wrong with you. When your teenager is wide awake at midnight, or your father is up before the birds, that is not a disorder. When you find yourself in the dark, telling a story, and the whole room goes quiet and leans in, you are doing the oldest thing your kind knows how to do. The night was never empty. It was where we became ourselves, and a small piece of that ancient hillside is still running, quietly, inside you, every single night.